Everybody to game number 2, EHOME versus CDEC. Of course, EHOME only one game up. We'll see whether or not CDEC is able to tie things out. The Blitz, we have once again CDEC running some things that we've seen before, but EHOME is definitely a lot more interesting story here. The supports are very different. We're seeing essentially what come from North America, similar to the Omni OD, also come all the way over to Europe and China, the OD Marana.
Can you guess an E-Wolves game with Moon Meander?
Yeah.
Where they do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense though, because see why you're going to play the safe lane, you need something that has kill potential. That's something that we always talk about, right? At least I make a point to bring up in every broadcast is you want to have kill potential on the off lane. And this is definitely a hero combination that does it for you.
Yeah, this is a combination that XE is not going to be able to deal very well with at all. Meanwhile, Old 11, he actually is not going to be facing too much that is scary when it comes to his pushes. Now, they definitely have kill power between Rubik, Ember Spirit, and the Lina that he's got to be careful not to feed away to. But once we really see this Broodmother start rolling forward, they don't have a whole lot of ways to be able to deal with it.
Yeah, this Death Prophet's going to Spirit Siphon.
Oh dear. Shiki is going to be run down for a bit of damage, but he was able to pick up the Bounding Rune. The Broodmother did get the Bounding Rune at bottom lane, and is actually making his way to where? Is it going to be mid Broodmother? It is.
It is.
Nice. So mid Broodmother, change up as well.
Oh no.
EHOME always bringing different strats.
And
but...
this is something that we talked about too, is like one of the best invoker counters is take this Broodmother.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people look at a hero like Brood and they think it's weird.
Look at Kaga. He knows he's got to get the Tango over to Broodmother so he can counter the counter.
A lot of people are just like, Broodmother, it's not a mid hero, but it is. Like, if you think about it, it hard nullifies a lot of other mid heroes.
Yeah.
And now Garter's in this weird, unenviable position where he's a support Rubik that has a dust, but no kill potential there. This is, and I'm going to reference that a lot, just like kill potential, because it's important. Can you or can you not get on a hero, just use those two. Bottom.
And this bottom lane's not going to be a whole lot of fun either without the Rubik here. This Death Prophet Night Stalker is actually a pretty powerful lane that's got to be careful with the slow. Of course, allowing Old Chicken to be able to get off full Spirit Siphon. And we already talked about the fact that they have kill potential against the Faceless Void. This is EHOME once again. We saw this in a their previous series, is that they're setting themselves up to potentially win every single lane.
So weird. I don't think I've ever seen off-lane DP before. I remember I got into some discussion about some guy who told me like offlane DP legit, and I was like, what MMR are you, like 2k? Like, you're insane, but look, it's kind of working, but that bottom cock is 100% gonna go down.
Yeah, definitely dead. Aggressive is the one to pick up that first blood. Meanwhile, they're actually positioning themselves to try and get a kill on Shiki right now. Lanham is thinking about throwing out the arrow. He's just waiting for Shiki to stand in one place for a little bit too long.
Everything about EHOME's setup is just a little bit off. And individually it probably works out, but it's like the combination of three things. Like, you have this Marana and Night Stalker support, neither of them have that hard disable that you usually look for in your supports for your team fight. Then you've got a Brood mid, which you see sometimes, but it's pretty infrequent. I feel comfortable saying.
Yeah, it started off in the South American scene, and then showed up in the South Asia scene, then Europe started running it. It was just like this very weird spread.
They had it at TI as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
They're immediately going to switch things around because that they know they want their invoker to have good. And Shiki is not going to have the best start against Broodmother mid. He has zero potential to really do much. Old 11 can harass him out. Whereas aggressive, at least he's got the Flame Gun. Even then, it's not that great.
Yeah, EHOME definitely identified that the two different potential mids from CDEC were not going to be enough to stop a mid Broodmother. So again, they're still left in this position where their toughest lane is going to be their Death Prophet Night Stalker, but they'll probably still be able to farm decently well. We'll see how well a Death Prophet is able to execute though when we start going 20 minutes into the game with a little bit of lackluster farm compared to mid Death Prophet. That is going to be an issue. That slowed down Yule Scepter. The timing is just going to be a bit off for Old Chicken.
See that stat? This is the first time Lanham has played Marana competitively. Kind of nuts, actually, about it.
Considering how insane number of games that he has, yeah.
It's not very common to begin with, though. It's a lot more unstable than Chinese scene like. When I think of the Chinese scene, it's even less about farming or any of these things that people talk about. All the that is that they used to play, but like what China Dota really represents to me is stability. The way that they play the game, play it in what they find the most consistent. And this has been the case for a really long time. Beautiful to watch, honestly. Whereas like the West, you know, we got the flair for the dramatic, do some weird stuff.
We have our Jimmys and sexy Bambos of the world.
Yeah, exactly. You can never have... I guess Old 11 is the Bambo of Asia. You're just like down to make big plays.
Yeah. Old 11 is doing a typical Broodmother move. It doesn't really matter what lane you're in, he's probably going to try and grab the tower.
What is Aggressive supposed to do against this? How is he meant to deal with this? He can't have sentries on both sides, so, but his Flame Guard doesn't instantly kill the Broodling. He can't pressure with them at all. If he pops it too early, then Old 11 gets on top of him, kills him in 1 second.
Yeah, and if he takes too much damage
oh, God,
he's actually going to be taken out as Kaka comes in. Nice arrow as well, following it up. Lanham is able to ensure there's no counterplay. Meanwhile, in the top lane, CTY is going to be in some serious trouble as CDEC decided to make an aggressive rotation up to the top lane. This is probably smart. The laning phase is definitely in its static. Very favorable for EHOME. So they got to kind of shake things up and rotate some supports around.
Yeah, and this DP traditionally in the mid lane does fine against this Invoker, but again, it's an old chicken off-lane DP. It's probably not comfortable doing this. Assume they must have ran this at least once or twice in scrims, and more importantly than that, they're giving such a favorable mid matchup. Old 11 who's already taking
nice arrow. Shiki, shine here. Old Chicken is able to get off the Spirit Siphon, and too damn bad. Go invis, it doesn't really matter. That Spirit Siphon will follow you to your grave.
It would have killed them no matter what because it gives vision.
Yep.
Like it shows you where they're going.
Yeah, they just continue to run him down no matter what.
Man, that spell's just funny to think about because DP is not broken, but that one individual spell, if you described it to me, I would tell you were insane. Pure damage, it goes through BKB, you get charges, it walks through invis.
Imagine the enemy, they can't really juke you. Old 11 is actually clearing through some Ancients at the same time, just trying to maximize his farm.
Wow, this is pretty incredible. Like, he's getting a lot.
Yeah,
we talked about it really in the last game, how important it is to take this mid one tower and how difficult it normally is. But he just skips the creep wave 4 times in a row, they kill the Ember, and then it's down.
Yeah, and with the Death Prophet, they've actually got pretty good Roche taking capabilities later on to the game. So if they're able to take both this mid tower as well as the safe lane tower, that actually completely kills CD's hold on the Roshan pit, which is already lessened by the fact they're on Radiant side.
DP is doing too well. She's 1-0, picks up 27 CS. That would be bad mid farm. Translates to amazing off farm.
Yeah. And CDC, this is simply going to be a lineup that's just too slow again. They've got both the Ember Spirit and the Invoker who need a certain amount of farm. Faceless Void is going to have his level 6 soon, but he doesn't actually really output a whole lot of damage himself, and his ultimate is too low of or too high of a cooldown to consistently have a good tempo control of this game. This is going to be EHOME running away with it for the first 10 to 15 minutes easily.
Invoker is going to go Quas-Wex to stop the bleeding, but at bottom, Shiki's going to get gone on. He's silenced up. There's so many Broodlings on top of him.
Yeah, there's just no way for him to get out in time, and
Garder?
He does not have a TP, so if you actually
they're boots on the ground!
Garder, go, Garder! Oh, he holds off. So, an Ether Lens for Death Prophet. Priest in range of that Spirit Siphon, as well as Trip Swarm.
It would have been amazing if Garder had gone for that.
Yeah.
He just denies the boots. 400 gold for your life. I'll take that trade.
And there it is. That tier 1 tower is down at the bottom lane. CDEC's hold on Roshan is very rapidly evaporating.
There's a lot of firsts happening this game.
EHOME definitely showing up to this series after getting knocked down by MVP. Do not want to be ending up in that loser's bracket at the best of 1.
And this is pretty innovative to begin with. But EHOME are just putting pressure all around the map, and even though the score looks somewhat even, for casual watchers of Dota, you're immediately gonna put your eyes to the scoreboard and say, well, it's kind of close, it's 2-3, but remember the last game where it started 20-11 or something in favor of CDEC and it didn't even matter? What matters even more is how much pressure you're putting on, the net worth differences, how much you're getting out of the objectives. Because EHOME, they're not getting kills, but they're getting objectives, and in the early game, this means so much more. You're getting complete control of the enemy jungle right now.
I like this transition. Old 11 going for the early Vlads as well. This is just going to increase the early fighting power of EHOME.
They're showing you completely different style. Old 11's going to get caught on most likely sides.
Run down, telekinesis. This should be a rather easy kill. Old 11 can try and get up the nuke off Garter, and maybe his Spiderlings can pick it up, but no. Aggressive is actually taking him down with the Flame Guard. So, arrow landing on Shiki, but unfortunately, EHOME have no way to be able to follow that
Cancel
one
the cell. When you play the Dire, you want to try to take control of this Radiant jungle as much as you can. Like, I don't know if I can draw on this even. Area, so that you force them to farm like these two camps only.
Yep.
And then you just go for the Roshan eventually, take map control, play the game where you starve out the enemy, force CDEC to play on your side of the jungle, then you can just board that and you've got map control and you win the game just by getting like 3 Roshans and eventually going high ground for people that don't know. So what CDEC have to do right now is they have to try to take control back. They've got to get this Brood down as many times as they can. This is a pretty central hero, the EHOME's plot.
This is even more of an extreme version of the hold on the Radiant jungle than we normally see. Being able to get this kind of aggressive vision down in lane as well as this forward ward means that they can't actually get into this right side of the jungle at all without being scouted.
Yeah.
The Broodmother's early taking of that tier 2 tower is really what allows this kind of aggressive warding to succeed.
It's a really cool strategy. I think people aren't gonna really realize it. They're gonna look at the heroes and think, yeah, that's neat, but there's like the actual play aspect of it too. Pretty well calculated by EHOME so far.
Shiki have to deal with these Spiderlings constantly. The next Exorcism is up in 15 seconds. Can EHOME roach that early? Oh, looks like the Old 11 not getting hit by the Light Strike Array, but it doesn't seem to matter. The Laguna Blade is going to be thrown out there. Meanwhile, Nightstalker actually goes down to the bottom lane as Aggressive is able to pick up that kill.
At one point, it looked like the gold was ticking down to almost 7k, but the XP now in favor of CDEC. They're getting these high priority kills. EHOME can't afford that. Just talked about how central the Brood is to the strategy. Can't lose him twice in a row like this back to back. Give up a lot of the map control. You allow Shiki to continue to farm up. Pretty terrible thing to happen because he's gonna get his Midas now. Kind of puts him back. There was a time period where he was really far behind, even worse than the offlane DP. But now he's got the Midas. Once they start to pick up objectives, they'll get even further ahead.
They kill mid, kill bottom, now going for the trifecta as they're going to be able to make the 3-man smoke up the top lane. The Moonlight Shadow is there, but they do have the Chronosphere to be able to reveal CTY as he's going to be held down. Oh, the silence goes out actually. Old Chicken in a great position there. He's going to be able to blow up XC and protect CTY until Aggressive comes back. Oh, the imprisonment goes out just in time, dodging some of that damage. The Tornado still coming out. Aggressive knows he can still play forward here as EHOME are going to be losing CTY. Old Chicken turning to fight Aggressive as best as possible. That Spirit Side can go to town. He will be able to pick up the kill. Old Chicken's even going to be able to survive as CDEC have drawn themselves out too far until, Catastrophic. Getting hit by that Dragon Slave. Nightstalker's too far forward now. Monum, he definitely does not have the levels to be able to fight this one out as he's got 3 levels of Sacred Arrow. They do have the Broodmother coming in from behind though, and that's definitely going to be a sacrificial Q. What else can Old 11 get though? Shiki's down to half health. He's got Tornado up. He's going to be able to turn around by himself. Time to get off the Ghost Walk and will be able to survive from there.
So really good rotations by CDEC invading the safe lane. EHOME, the one downside to this lineup is it's incredibly fragmented. You have to wait for this lineup to develop. Map control, you allow the Broodmother to kind of become this unkillable stalker in the jungle where you have no idea where she's going or what she's doing. And then this will allow CTY to farm on the other side of the map. But CDEC, the really intelligent thing about this in the counter is saying, okay, we're going to kill the Brood, then we're just immediately going to keep... Notice they don't stop to farm the jungle, they don't wait to clear out anything like that, they just go lane to lane. And this is so key because a lot of teams, I think, that are worse, they would go to the jungle, farm out, play the farming game for a little bit, but...
And then they would just get picked off by those aggressive boards.
CDEC are just playing aggressively. They're going non-stop. They go from top, mid to bottom.
Oh, Arrow catches out XD, and that's going to be a free pickoff for EHOME. Old 11 was trying to get himself away from Aggressive, but now he's got the counter. Ooh, Tornado in from behind. Shiki is going to be able to put out enough damage to make sure the Broodmother dies. The Laguna Blade goes out. CTY, he'll die as soon as his imprisonment is done for. And Old Chicken, he doesn't have the kind of power to stand up against this one. Aggressive is just too big at this point in time. Is able to take out all 3 cores, and now trying to catch some of the backlines. The forward, nice jump from Garter, able to get that lead forward into the telekinesis, steals the arrow, and Garter's just showing off at this point in time.
Alright, Garter's just I want to create my own movie. And just pulls off play after play, and they might even pressure for this min power and grab it on their own. And CDEC, they've wrested all map control away. The gold lead that existed purely because of the tier 2 and tier 1 towers being pushed, it's almost been entirely nullified. The XP advantage going way the hell up, and
feels like EHOME, almost in a way with this kind of strategy, had like phase 1 and phase 2 pretty well planned out, but as soon as they got in, they got the objectives they were searching for, they seemed to just lose a little bit of focus and start playing a little bit sloppier. And CDC definitely pounced on that beautifully with, as you were talking about, the way that they just continually played aggressive and didn't slow down for a moment.
This Ember's getting too fat too quick too. Aggressive is playing really well. I know in the earlier series against Secret he was a little bit disappointing, and they need him to be the star player if they're going to advance far into this tournament. But EHOME, I was gushing all over their strategy, I was fanboying pretty hard because it's a really cool strategy, and I saw the execution principle behind it, and they did a really good job of it. But then CEC, they just struck back. They said in the panel they're used to best. Yeah, that's what we saw. EHOME, like you said, that was the perfect way to put it. They're like, okay, we do this, now what?
End up losing just too many pickoffs, and you can't really afford that with this kind of push strategy, right? Because you get a pretty sizable gold advantage, and that's going to play against you with these pickoffs that CDEC continually getting as they just batter against EHOME with some of their aggression.
They don't want to give up this tier 2 tower, but even the Amber Spirit's going to come in.
They know about it too, the Moonlight Shadow, but they've got a good counter ward set up. The arrow has already been used, and that's a big downside on him. He put a huge amount of priority into this Sacred Arrow going 3 levels instead of just 2, which I think is a bit more standard.
It doesn't level up the max stun or min stun or anything like that. It's just the damage.
Yeah, the damage progression from level 1 to level 2 is big. 50 to 140.
I think after that, though, I think the 3rd level is a little bit of overkill.
Yeah, agreed. You kind of want that Starstorm just because of the having nuking power plus some farming potential, I guess, from a support position.
He was going to frontline this. He has the Aegis. They don't want to give this up. Give up this tier 2 tower right now. They've already lost a lot of momentum.
Old 11's threatening that tier 3 tower. Aggressive has got to go back. Protect that one. The arrow. Oh, Garter. He's going to be hit dead on by that one. CCY's going to be able to blow him up. Nice and quick does that ultimate. EMP not going to be able to do much there. The imprisonment is out in time. Q is going to try and land the Light Strike Array afterwards. Does land it, but it ultimately means nothing. EHOME has successfully defended their tier 2 tower thanks to Old 11 pushing out that bottom lane.
They didn't communicate that very well. Could have killed Q after he threw down the stun on CTY. CTY is Aegis. Get 3 heroes around that area. The rest of CEC had already ran away. As soon as Aggressive shows himself bottom, even with the Spirit at top, fighting at that angle was just a little bit too off. CTY having the Aegis available to himself.
Now, Broodmothers of old, especially against Ember Spirits, would have gone an Orchid. Now, that has long not been the case. We were actually seeing much more of these brawler builds coming out from the Broodmother. The Vlad's a good example of this. Early BKBs are oftentimes picked up. What's kind of the change of idea behind the Broodmother in this?
Rather than going for what, like
yeah, the more pick-off style that we used to see, Broodmother would just sit in one lane and then destroy whoever showed up, essentially.
I think go for the Vlad. It allows you to push in, go for the jungle pretty easily. Adds a lot of firepower to your broodlings, or your spiderlings, I should say. I think getting the BKB early against this kind of lineup.
Oh, chicken! Oh, he is still gonna go down here. That was decent commitment there from CDEC. That was a full rotation from 5 heroes with Xenoblade also being used. And it wasn't the most critical of heroes. OG and Broodmother are still your top dogs, but they're going to catch an extra hero, Taka. Somehow being caught here despite knowing that CDEC were 5-manning there. Gets hit by the tornado while he's trying to farm away as Night Stalkers are 1-2. That being said, this is creating more space for Old 11 to go high ground once again. XD's going to come in with the Chronosphere, and now the follow-up TPs. They planned this one well, but apparently not quite well enough. Q's got to land the Light Striker right here to be able to stun Old 11, keep him in place for his allies to be able to take him out. It will be a trade-off, but well worth the Lena's life.
Just feels like EHOME. The strategy was developed really well for the first 10 minutes of the game, but it's falling apart a little bit, and most of this just comes down to the cores being picked off non-stop. That you can afford to lose the occasional support, the Night Stalker or even the Marauder dying is not that big of a deal, but EHOME's central core philosophy behind this lineup, I think, is just keep your cores alive, keep them annoying, make sure that you spread out the map as much as possible, and then play around like the DP ultimate. But DP isn't a hero that typically offlanes, and I'd imagine it's not the best coming back into the game when you've been stacked so hard.
Yeah, and let's talk about that Ether Lens build. I'm not going to hate on it too much. If I was seeing it from like a mid-def profit, it's kind of interesting, but we already talking about how his farm in the offlane is going to slow down that Yule Scepter, and if you pick up another item before that Yule Scepter, you're just doubling the time on that. Is this a mistake by Old Chicken? Is this Yule Scepter timing really costing EHOME a lot of control, or you think it's alright?
I think it's okay, because he needed the Arcane boost. He's an offlaner.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the stats. He doesn't have a null talisman or a bottle or anything like that. I wouldn't really want him to go a bottle at that point, because he just has to stat up and get Arcanes.
Right.
In hindsight, of course, you can say that he could have just gone straight for the Yules, but even then, I don't think he would have farmed as much as he did.
It was just very natural, right? If you're gonna go the Arcanes, make use of that mana booster a little bit.
CDEC are just playing this really well, because they know that EHOME don't have the hard lockdowns available for the DPL to be really effective in straight up fights, and they know that the Broodmother can't really fight because she has no web system set up. They're taking all these fights around the map, being Old 11 on his toes. Yeah, he's getting some damage on that tower bottom, but is 500 damage on the tower worth repeatedly losing team fights?
Yeah, and speeding up that Battle Fury, perhaps, the Ember Spirit. He's farming away. He's got Boots of Travel Drums, Perseverance, and is another 1,000 gold or so away from completing that Battle Fury. Now, EHOME were hoping to be able to get a pick off. They ran a 4-man smoke all the way down to the bottom lane. If they could get something, they can actually quickly go uphill and force CDC on the defensive nice and quick, but...
Too obvious.
Yeah, way too obvious. They only managed to get a ward up, and that's it. CDEC realized exactly what was going on and took advantage of it.
Nobody was fighting top lane.
Yeah.
Fought so hard. You rotated 4 heroes. You were willing to lose the fight just to defend that tier 2. And then aggressive is just like, poke. Poke is like, anybody here? That's the context you should think about it.
Yeah.
Like, they were trying so hard to defend that tower. And then aggressive is by himself, does not take towers quickly.
No.
It's like, one hero has to be there, defends it. Nobody shows up. That alone just should sound off the alarm bells. Tell everybody on your team they are bottom. What they're going to do is go for a pick-off and then immediately high ground with the DPO.
They just played defensive with everyone else. Ember takes the tower, and now EHOME are left in a position where it looks like Roche number 2 may be their high ground potential, but...
I feel like they're going to have to at that point.
Yeah. Because they can't afford to go late game against Ember Void, right?
No. And the Invoker, really underrated.
True.
Plus Lina is a support. I think he's getting a decent amount. He's got a 4-staff already. Rubik's got Blink, Arcanes. Like, all of their supports are getting farmed. And this is traditionally something you don't see out of CDC's support. Garter and Q, especially Garter, often just kind of gets sacked a lot. And it's actually EHOME supports that get a lot out of the last game that they want. But Lanam just kind of prioritizes himself. But I love that about Dota. You just make all of these little inferences of the information that you have, educated guesses. They don't have any wards at the top side, but tell like what's going on.
Yeah. ETY is trying to finish off his BKB right now. Vexy is going to put a stopper in that one if he can with the Chronosphere combined with Shiki. Oh, CTY jumps back just at the right time. They still have the Orchid though, and that's going to be problematic for CTY. He needs to stay. The mech is going to come in. That'll keep him alive. And now CDEC are the ones trying to run themselves out, but Old Chicken is coming from the side, slowing down Shiki enough. They'll be able to pick up that 1 kill and look for more, but it looks like the Ember Chains are going to be enough to stop that one. But that being said, CDEC are on full retreat. They're going to lose Q here. This just leaves another opening once again for Old 11 to go for the high ground push.
He's going to pressure up, but luckily for CDC, it's not the Ember that they lost. They can just send him down with Flame Guard, and Garter alone is enough to do this. He even stole the spawn Spiderlings. You can start to get counter-aggressive with these. All those time-dilated Spiderlings.
Aggressive!
No.
No Battle Fury yet, so most of those Broodlings will be able to survive, but Old 11's got to keep an eye on that one.
I think the next Roshan is EHOME's time to strike. It was a really good fight that they took at top, killing the Lina and the Invoker. But it's going to cost you the DP ult almost every time. We talked about it. It was really close for them only getting the Invoker. well, the Lena almost made it out.
Radiant's top
You have
tower
no
is under
way to
attack.
really stop people from kind of running away.
Radiant's
Have those
structures
crazy
are
crowd control
fortified.
abilities like that Lana Ravage Lion last game.
Yeah. XD is about to complete a Blink Dagger. Yeah, it's it up now. So they'll have that extra initiating tool. It's CT wise. Great counterplay there with the Blink back. Bottom lane, Oldalab is going to be caught once again. Pops BKB, turns on the ultimate, is going to be able to kill Q. It looks like he'll get the other support as well. The question is whether or not he'll survive through this. Shiki needs just a little bit more damage. Oldalab, unfortunately, has taken damage from Shiki and won't be able to get himself inside the trees. So he does end up going down. That being said, picking off the two supports isn't too bad. Did cost him his 10-second BKB, but at least he had enough reliable gold to complete the defusal play.
The Invoker is the gem. Almost no chance he's going to get out of that. You see a machine gun fire with the alacrity of the Orchid. It's so goddamn fast.
Yeah, the Quaswex build on Invoker is just known for this incredibly deadly single target takeoff between the Orchid Silence, Cold Snap, and the high amount of attack speed he has.
Ember's going to get a huge infusion of gold and experience. They go for this top pressure, but CDEC, they're not going to give anything away for free. Not when they're this far ahead. I don't even want to say this far ahead, because they've got some weird positional advantages and an Ember Spirit that's getting huge, but EHOME, they're the bend don't break team, right? You get all these kills against them, but they're meaningless, you know? You killed Old
Still
11.
find a way to be able to end the game.
It's like, you killed Old 11 again? We're used to that.
We're just playing on hard mode right now, don't worry about it.
Yeah, they're just... 11's that player that... The reason he dies, but in net it works out. It's like the highlight die of sport players. I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I hope people... I know that's like some weird meme that highlight dies have died, but when I see highlight die die, it's like, look how much his team got. And we get like a ton of farm. They create space on one side of the map. It's like the same thing with Old 11.
And they will be able to take this road on. CDEC have to fight through an Aegis if they want to go, and they decide not to. They're also fighting into now a Night Stalker Ags. Doesn't have the gem yet.
They've got quite a bit of farm on the course though. The BKB is almost completed on the Invoker, but EHOME are still at a pretty dangerous timing. Pretty strong right now. You've got the Axe completed on the Night Stalker. You know, with the Iron Talon, he just beautifully farmed away. The Dual Scepter and 2,200 gold. Ultimate Orb for it, and probably the OG is going to finish the BKB soon.
Yeah, still though, I mean, Battle Fury picked up by Ember Spirit not so long ago. It's quickly turning into a Crystallis against this Broodmother. It's
Don't you get a...
just being
I feel like you need a blink as well.
oh yeah.
Dire's bottom tower is
Maybe he
under attack.
prioritizes damage here, because...
Of the potential high ground push that EHOME are going to go for.
Oh, this is...
Nice pick off on Lana.
With honor.
Again, this is the EHOME style. Lose these non-important heroes later on. Make sure that you keep the core alive at all costs. That's why Old 11 has shifted gears, and he's saying to himself, don't go in the lane anymore, there's no reason, just farm out their jungle repeatedly and teammates where they are. For the timing.
Jump forward here. They actually going to try and do this one with a silence.
Only
It's
two
not going to be
heroes.
great though. CDEC still have the rest of their heroes sitting on the side. We're ready to counter-initiate. XD not finding the opportunity to throw down that Chronosphere.
Old 11, I like that he's finally starting to respect the Void. The Void can just TP in before the rest of his teammates, and if he finds the opportunity for a Chrono, then you can go for the TP.
Yeah.
Shiki has the... He's gonna hunt. Old 11 should get the hell out right now. Hiding in the tree line, weird spot.
TPing away. XD. Knows the Broodmother is somewhere around, but can't catch him quite in time.
Got the BKB now. Him a lot.
Lana, is this an Orchid build on him,
Veil?
or is he actually going Veil? Because there's not that much magic damage, right? There's the big OD ultimate. That's the big magic damage that he does. There's Crypt Swarm. Like, they've got a lot of heroes that actually, despite being intelligence heroes, output like physical damage or pure damage rather than magic.
I think it's still pretty... Gives
Yeah.
you really nice stats. Gives you armor, HP regen.
Certainly doesn't need the mana with... Well, I guess he does with the mech.
Mech. Autumn just finds farm. I don't know how he ever does it. Top though.
Radiant's top
Home. This is the
tower
first
is
time
under
that they're going to bring
attack.
old 11 full
Radiant
5-man. And the main
structures
reason for this is because of CTY's EKB 8. One at full force this one.
You cannot afford to lose a 10-second BKB fight at this.
And more importantly than that, you're only going to get so many opportunities against absolutely massive Ember, who instead of going for the Blink or the Yasha into the Manta,
Dire's bottom
it is
tower
going
is under
to be a
attack.
counter to both the Night
Radiant's
Stalker
top
and the
tower
Death
is
Stalker.
under
Right.
attack.
That Death Prophet, the initiation range of like the 8 lens, like heals, balance is pretty.
EHOME are running around right now with Kaka and that Ags, Night Stalker, and Gem. And they take every bit of map control that CDEC still have left away from the map. They're going to try and go for the silence play, but realize too many members of CDEC are here. Nice turnaround silence there from Old Chicken. And EHOME have popped the Moonlight Shadow, are going to try and get the pick off on Garter. Looks possible, Old 11. Tornado goes down. And Arrow is going to be landing on Garter, so it looks like that's still going to be a kill. They'll need a little bit more damage. One right click is going to do the trick, but he managed to blink himself away. EHOME unable to be able to commit to that kill. Still, they'll get the control of the tier 2 tower. Not necessarily as power the CDEC would have needed to fight anyway. Definitely have the better late game, and it seems like high ground defense is all they really need to worry about.
Manta completed now on the Ember. Gonna see him TP out, but he just continues to farm. It's pretty good timings right now. He's the highest net worth in the game by 3,000. The Broodmother was naturally going to be ahead just because of the amount of objectives, including the Roshan. There's a little bit of this. He's going to spirit away the other two heroes coming.
Here comes that Veil now for Lanham.
It helps. We're underrating this item. Up in 4 minutes again.
This is this going to be the Moonshard OD? This is one of the big things he really needs attack speed, right, to capitalize on that Arcane Orb, which is why the Octarine can sometimes be questionable.
Smoke attempt is... CDEC go for their own smoke. Play just because they know that the game's down. As a result, EHOME getting up their own full force.
It's just too hard though against a Night Stalker. Kaka's positioned himself pretty damn well, and now it's going to be CDEC who need to try and get out.
Q is gonna die.
Q. He's only got the 4 staff. There's no way he's going to be able to stay ahead of this Night Stalker. Be able to draw a lot of time at least. Unless CDEC actually want to try and fight this one. Shiki's here. Getting there. Performance Spear on Q. That's going to be a good setup. Old 11 tries to go for Shiki. They managed to land an arrow on him as well. They're definitely going to be able to take him down. And CTY pops his BAB and just turns and fights as best as possible. XC is going to be silenced up. Looks like he should be able to drop him with the ultimate over the top. Q is going to lose all of his mana. They'll try and chase him down next. Hides himself in the trees. Hoping to be able to juke away CTY while the rest of CDEC start TPing back. Q still going to be found though. CTY catch. Oh, are you kidding me? Barely doesn't do enough damage to finish off. And the neutral creep will take the kill.
And if that Invoker BKB's
Dire's
arrow,
top tower
they
is under attack.
probably win that fight. The void setup that they had, Shiki dying there, getting anything off. Quite a lot for the rest of his team. He had the Alacrity queued up, could have casted a new spell during that time period. Goes down, Whimper. Pretty sure you have enough time, right?
Dire's structures
The arrow coming in.
are
Maybe he thought somebody
fortified.
else was going to get hit.
He was
Dire's
probably
bottom
maybe a bit
tower is
distracted by
under
the
attack.
Broodmother coming in from the side. I don't know.
Still, forward for that to happen. You're going to guarantee yourself a fight. Like, they had time to get out
Dire's
and
bottom
just
tower
dish
is
Q. That was one of those, okay, we should take the fight. XT is going to get a really nice corner opportunity because the EHOME's getting way too over-aggressive. So it's just a casual gem picked up by the courier.
11. Abandoning that one, doesn't need it for now. CTY has completed his Moon Shard. Even more advantage in nighttime now. So they've got the extra gem taken away from Garter, so even if Kaka does lose his, all good. Aggressive though, he always has room to split push.
He's gonna need to get big for his team.
They just have no blink hard disables to really deal with it, only the sound please.
Speaking of which, I think the OD should get after this.
Yeah.
Almost in solo kill potential.
Chronosphere, XD. He has the blink dagger up too. They know Old 11. They catch him. But is this actually going to be a damage? Yeah, they've actually got him. He was going to be able to line up the Light Strike Array and take him out.
Good news is he doesn't have the gem on him.
Yeah.
They're pinging, they're hoping, but... Pick up a fresh one. He's got it, but he has to be able to utilize that 10-second BKB this round. The next fight, EHOME. They've used that one BKB on the OD, and they've used 2 charges so far in the Brood, but matter too much.
Lincoln pick up on Old Chick. Yeah,
I think Hex is better, but
it feels like that would be CTY. You just don't have like any kind of. Oh, okay, he does. Go for it.
much better. Because the Lincolns, what does it really do for you? Block it.
Yeah, maybe they're working. That's about it.
Like, look at this setup. It's not going to matter at all, but it's kind of neat.
They gotta be able to get
Old
anything
Chicken
here. Old Chicken does have some allies behind him. They're gonna be able to get the imprisonment off, and there is XD. He's ready to go for jumping on the front lines with his BKB, but he doesn't have the Chronosphere after killing that Broodmother. They will be able to get the Death Prophet and try and push down for both tier 2s, it looks like. CDEC are actually in a good position to really capitalize off that pickoff.
There was almost no chance that... I'm sort of surprised that he went for that. It's like the first reveal of the Knight of Ice, and Brexit wasn't really in a position to die. Like, yeah, you've got the heavy silence, but he still had the Manta. Look how much HP he has in armor. 2100, 14 armor. You're gonna be hard pressed to kill him unless your entire team is in position.
Yeah, you definitely need like the OD immediately there, start right-clicking down as soon as possible.
That was maybe just a little bit of an overextension. I'm gonna go for this bottom push and starter. Get the lift off.
They managed to get the Orchid on him. He has no way to be able to stop that. So, pick off there before the Death Prophet is backed up in 15 seconds. And now, Old 11 is going to be found as well. They managed to get both the Chronosphere as well as the Stolen Arrow onto him. CDEC is just tearing apart EHOME now. They've completely fallen apart. They're going to be losing this lane of racks and probably going to be threatened a second lane of racks as well. CDEC just abandoned the bottom lane push. They don't really care that much about the range racks. They want to be able to take this tier 2 and go high ground once again.
That Brood doesn't have buybacks. He just bought out. They're going to poke, and they're going to find out really quickly that he doesn't have buyout. And they know that the cliff is on cooldown for a fact. EHOME, this is kind of the one downside of their strategy. If their lineup was meant to play aggressively at all phases of the game cap, play defensively like this, it doesn't suit them. Ember is so huge that he can play the siege game now. 35 seconds out your Broodmother, you've got to play this perfectly.
Old Chicken's already down to half health. They've jumped in on Tonka. The arrow lands on Garter. Coming from behind, managed to get a lot of damage out, but unfortunately that ult just isn't really impressive. These heroes got off their BKB. CTY's laying a lot of damage into aggressive though. He no longer has his Manta. Imprisonment goes out. Looks like he should be dying here underneath that one. A little bit more damage. Oh, we actually killed OD first. Taka, Lana throws out the arrow, but unable to get anything else there. Shiki, defensive tornado as they get themselves out. That would have been a pretty damn decent fight for EHOME if they only hadn't lost that OD.
That was kind of worst possible scenario there, is that the Ember gets all the XP and the gold for the solo pickup on the OD. Sort of surprised that he astraled them.
Yeah.
If you just kept right-clicking him, it would have guaranteed the kill. Or maybe you just go away because you know that the silence is going to end by the time you saw the astral. Really just overestimated how, or underestimated how much damage you did.
Yeah, with the completed Scotty Ember Spirit is super tanky. EHOME are going to be able to turn their attention towards Roshan. Roshan number 3, so she is going to be up. It's going to be a big pickup potentially for someone like the Death Prophet or...
Old 11's about to complete the AC, Old Chicken's got some gold going, but nobody from the rest of the EHOME squad are really going to get that much bigger. So I kind of like them to start looking for these engagements. I don't think you wait for the OD's next major item. It's way too long. Only 1700 gold right now. Probably give him the Aegis and give Old 11 the cheese.
I think Old 11 over Old Chicken.
He's decent. Oh, you give root the Aegis. A little bit surprising. I thought for sure they'd give it TTY.
Is the Broodmother is he's almost like a transformational hero in that like he's very dependent on insatiable hunger and BKB to have a large impact in fight. So that's only one of the lives.
Pretty surprised about that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd kind of like to talk to somebody and figure out what that's about. But TY's not going to have the Aegis this time around. Maybe they just think he's pretty just farming out everything. Still deals quite a bit of damage.
Late game OD. Oh, Rexy sidesteps that arrow. We'll be able to make it out alive there. Are you still down with this no ags this void that we keep seeing?
I think the diesel and BKB are honestly necessary. You want to make sure more than anything, it doesn't matter the cooldown so much as you get off the BKB. And the diffusal is a really good cheap counter to the silence, and it gives you some damage. And BKB guarantees that you don't get clipped by some arrow or you stop hitting.
Give us next up for Old Chickens, although they'll potentially have the double armor items before the next fight.
I do think they should get it now. I don't think there's any point in building him as a pure DPSer.
So when you've got somebody who combos so well with the Chronosphere and the Ember Spear.
At some point though, EHOME are going to want to fight with the Aegis. Picking up a lot of different items on their cores. They've got pretty much everything that they need, sans the Doctress on Old 11. Maybe you wait for an item pickup from CTY. I didn't anticipate, I guess, with the Moon Shards. He's pretty incredible.
Down on creep waves. 40 minutes in, this game has drawn out a little bit longer than our last one, and the advantage is slightly to CDEC's favor. They've got about a 10k net worth advantage,
Slightly.
7,500 experience. But that's I mean that's essentially like one fight, right? If EHOME finds the correct kind of engagement.
EHOME still have a win condition.
Yeah.
Still have a way to win this game, and that's why you say even though you've got the 10k lead, you got this farmed as hell Ember. Still feel okay.
The biggest problem is they need strong initiation, which they simply do not have without the Scythe of Ice on the OD.
Yeah.
They got to be able to catch that Ember Spirit and blow them up.
Here we go. I think you go for the fight right now. You got the buyback available on the OD. Doesn't got the Aegis as well on Old 11. I think it's about time.
Fortunately for them, CDEC are playing inside the dire jungle and backing away from a potential fight with EHOME. EHOME are going to start pursuing, but with the Forge Spirits there, plenty of alarm bells should be going off for CDEC.
CDEC right now is just flat. Saying, okay, we're going to wait out this Aegis timer. We know you want to fight around it, so we're just going to play the guerrilla warfare game. Run, hit and run, force you to react to this top lane. They're not hard committing to anything because they don't want to have to. They're up a set of racks, and another set of racks might just make things over for them. OD though, gotta be careful. This hero's gonna hit hard. Got a fully completed Shivas. Means Chicken should get Lotus Orb?
Yeah. I was just about to say, I'm a little bit surprised. I really thought the Scythe of Ice was the best choice for him and have Shivas on the EP instead.
Link Hex is criminally, can't even say underrated, it's perfectly rated, it's amazing.
But armor is going to be needed against this Ember Spirit indeed. To weigh at them with the Sleight of Fist, initiation there, coming out, they will be able to get a Chrono Spear on the 2, holding in CTY, managed to get off the cheese, but he's still potentially going to go down. The imprisonment buys him some time. They have to turn their attention now to the Death Prophet. The X has come out, but he just doesn't seem to do quite enough damage. CTY comes back in the fight after that blink out, drops the ultimate, will be able to catch XD with no mana. Old 11, they'll manage to life steal a little bit more, but it looks like he's going to patch it down eventually. Life number 1 down, CTY. He's going to be potentially dropping here as well, needs to be able to blink himself out of this situation. Old 11 pops his BKB, turns and fights, but there's just too many heroes up for CDEC for them to be able to continue this engagement. 4 versus 4 still goes the way of CDEC.
Nighttime descended and CTY one pretty hand there. Just so usage, they're gonna lose Lana, but Mirana defensively doesn't really change anything anyways. CDEC. I think you can just mop up everything now.
Second laner X and EHOME are going to be hard pressed to come back from this one, as CDEC are not actually going to be stopping anytime soon. They're going to go for the full Mega Creep wipe here.
No Aegis, no DKEs.
And no need ultimate either, and that's going to be the big one. They catch out TTY. He has no buyback, and this could be EHOME just GGing out. If Old 11 can't make something happen, with Lightning still going away, he's managed to keep himself alive, and he can't actually threaten anybody from CDEC. He dies as well. Kaka's going to be the 5th hero down, and EHOME call it. It'll be a tie now for CDEC as they manage to even the series up.
What a world we live in where the consensus, for most people, tournament favorites are one game away from being fourth in the group, and to work their way through 2 best-of-1 brackets in a row.
Yeah.
I can't even believe this.
Yeah, this is pretty insane. Everybody rated EHOME as one of the top Chinese teams.